What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy BT, and today we are back with the Honda GROM. And as you've seen from the thumbnail that you've clicked, we are getting ready to change out, voila, the stock headlight into the Chimera / Baja Pro setup for the lighting system. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the install. All right, so here's everything that we're going to be using for the installation. A lot of it is still in the package, but all of the parts needed to get this installation done. And for this installation, we are going to use the Squadron Pro. So this is the brightest setup that you can do. And we also opted to get this wire harness here. We've got a T5 here that we're about to use to uninstall the headlight. We've got some thread locker here, so let's get to work. All right, so we're going to start by removing these two right here. These are a T5, and there are two on each side, so we'll do both sides respectively. All right, now that we have the screws taken out, we can go ahead and slide this forward. So all we have to do is unplug this harness here, and now we can take this over to our little mini bench to get to work. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna move these 4 screws. There are 2 on each side. All right, next thing we're going to do is remove this bolt here. This is an 8mm. And then that will allow our headlight to come out of the housing. Just kind of wiggle it out there. So there's the stock headlight. All right, so the next step is to get our 5mm and take out the 4 bolts holding the front cover on. All right, then when we flip this over on the inside, you can see these little tabs right here. So we're just gonna have to undo all of these to release the front cover here. And then that is separated. And next we're going to go ahead and grab our front of the kit setup here. All right, so here it is. Looking good. All right, so what we're going to be doing is inserting this into here. So the challenge is to get the edge of this in here to sit in the groove of here. So you just put a little force in it and get it set in place. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna start with the bottom. So we're gonna get the bottom as close to lined up as possible, like so. All right, trial and error. What we're gonna do, since the top is the widest, we're going to actually push this in to the top first and then work our way down to the bottom since the bottom is smaller. All right, so there we have it. We have it in. So from trial and error, start from the largest area first, which is going to be the top. Wedge it in the top, work your way on the sides, and then you'll be able to quickly get what's the bottom in, and everything will be in nice and looking good. Okay, now that we have that in, we'll open up our next package here. So now we have our front piece that's going to sit like so. We've got a bunch of screws in here. Okay, so for this one, to attach this, there are 2 screws in your package that are a lot shorter than the rest. These 2 are going to go to the lower portion, and the longer ones will go to the upper portion. And then we should be able to get that set in place. And before we put those on, we're going to go ahead, hit them with a little thread locker before we set them in place. All right, so with those nice and snug, next thing up, we have our lighting here. We're actually going to unhook this because we're hooking it up with the harness from the kit. And so what we do is we set this in place. This is going to sit right here. But before we do that, we have to put in the holders for the light. I'm going to go ahead and open up that package. All right, so here are the light holders. They will sit like so right here on this portion like this. So we're going to go ahead and get some thread locker set in place for these. And the way to put these in, make sure your 90-degree portion of your bracket is facing up. All right, so to make this even easier, with your brackets facing in the upward position, go ahead, get a little thread locker, put that on your screw. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually take this bracket here. We're just gonna slide this in, and we're gonna screw it in to the side here. This should hopefully make things a lot quicker of an install. All right, so we're going to set that in place there. You can see how that's going to align nicely like so. And then you have the ability to adjust your headlights as needed. So you can see here, it's either going that way or that way. So then with that, you just go ahead, you get some thread locker on your small guys and insert those and get everything snugged up. All right, so with everything in place, we now can attach this back to the rest of the housing. We're gonna snap everything in place here. So everything's snapped in, ready to go there. And then we just take our screws and get those reattached to the front. All right, so there is the finished assembly. So as you see, with these screws here on the side, you actually are able to adjust the light to however you need for your application. So after you find the placement that works for you, go ahead and get these bolts snugged into place. Then we can go ahead and prepare to reattach this back on the bike. Alright, so here is our harness. This piece will plug into the headlight. These 2 will go to the bike, so let's go ahead and get this installed. Alright, so here it is. You get your harness, so this piece right here is going to plug in to this here. And up under here, pull this up. You're looking for this guy right here. We go ahead and pull this out. And we go ahead and we insert this in, lock that in place. Go ahead, pull this back down, and that's it. We're done. All we have to do is plug this onto the headlight, reattach the 4 screws, and we should be rocking and rolling with our new Chimera T56 Baja setup. Make sure you clip it in. Everything clicks when you put it in. Go ahead and get everything situated the way that it needs to be situated here. Get all your wiring put in neatly, and go ahead and slide your housing back into the appropriate location. Now we're ready for our screws. Now, one thing I'm noticing, for whatever reason, these screws just don't seem to hold up that well, so it may be a good idea to pick up an extra set of these. I'm going to look up the part number for these and drop them in the description, because I think I'm going to end up getting maybe a couple of spare sets just in case. All right, so there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that beautiful new setup right there with those headlights. The whole thing looks sleek, it looks good. And the harness actually allows for the function of high and low beam. So just remember, shut your bike off, make sure you don't burn out those batteries. It's looking good. It's your boy BT. Hope you enjoyed the installation of the T56 Chimera Baja setup for the Honda GROM. Thank you for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.